Hello, it's Serene Brooks with Goal Nutrition and Diabetes Specialty, and I'm here to talk to you about diabetes distress. And if you are impacted in any way by diabetes, you know exactly what I mean, right? The impact that having a lifelong condition brings with it. It's a lot of responsibility. And whether you are the person with diabetes or you're the caregiver, it does bring a weight of responsibility. And so I want to talk about that today. And I hope that by the end, you have some ideas of ways you can help yourself be more at peace with your diabetes and feel better about just having it in general. I want you to feel that you are not alone and that you have support. That hopefully you can think of some ways as I'm talking today of things you can do that will help you to do better with how you feel about your diabetes. If you're overwhelmed, and I'm sure everybody impacted by diabetes has felt that way at some point. And you may look and watch other people and think, wow, they've got it all together. They must have their diabetes figured out because their numbers are always good and mine are always bad and they can do anything they want. But really, if you can see the big picture for that person, I doubt they have it all figured out. I don't know anybody who has it all figured out. Diabetes is ever changing. And so you need to understand that it's not you, it's just the nature of diabetes. And so you need to be really easy on yourself. Now, I am the mom of 3 children, and 2 of them have type 1 diabetes. So I completely get how a person feels when they find out their child is diagnosed with diabetes. I remember feeling overwhelmed with the responsibility as a parent of how I was going to care for them and make decisions for them, all the information I needed to learn and then teach them, just testing their blood sugars and giving them insulin shots. Now we have amazing technology with continuous glucose monitors. We have insulin pens and pumps, but they still require management, and there still does not take the diabetes away. So I totally get it. It's hard. And if you're the one that was diagnosed with diabetes, I'm sure you've had those same thoughts and feelings of wondering how you were going to manage and take care of this. And I'm sure there's times when it's easier and times when it's harder, and that's normal. And so I also was raised in a home with a father who had type 1 diabetes. And I remember being scared as a child. I didn't understand it. It was before they knew a lot about it. They didn't understand the carbohydrate counting very well, and they didn't understand insulin dosing and timing. And so his management was difficult and it was scary, and he felt overwhelmed. And I remember watching him for years and years and feeling a little bit of anxiety over it. So I totally know how it can impact everyone around, not just the person who has it, but those family members and friends and loved ones. Now, diabetes distress is described as an emotional and physical exhaustion and is brought on by the demands of managing diabetes and making it part of your everyday life. And it doesn't just come, like I said, to the individual that has it, but the caregivers, the family members, friends, all of those things, all of these things with diabetes can impact all of these different people. But regardless of where you're at, it's really important to keep this emotional exhaustion in check, because it can then lead to what they call diabetes burnout. And it causes this cycle that is really difficult to get out of. It starts with being frustrated with your diabetes, and that's a common feeling. But then it goes on longer. That frustration and that anxiety and that overwhelming feeling turns into diabetes distress. And if you stay in that state for a long time, you get to a point of burnout. So they call it diabetes burnout, and you tend to feel like you don't care anymore, or maybe you don't want to take care of it anymore, or maybe you want a day off, and so you take a day where you don't take care of your diabetes like you should. Or maybe just in general, you get more lax. But when that happens, well, you know, blood glucose levels don't stay where they should. And it brings you right back to where you started, with being frustrated with your diabetes. And that circle goes on and on. So if you find yourself in that diabetes to stress to burnout cycle, be mindful of it and take some steps to get yourself out of it. Because you can find happiness with diabetes as a part of your life. And there are ways to cope with it. We're going to talk about some of them. But first of all, I want to talk a little bit about perfectionism. Diabetes is not a perfect disease, so it's not going to be perfect no matter what you do. And it changes over time. It's ever changing. It can change and kind of come back to where it was before, and you have your ups and downs, and it's just not a perfect disease. But don't expect yourself to be perfect in your management either. While it is your number one priority to do the very best you can, just know that you may do everything the same day after day and do it exactly the very best you think you can do and still not get the results you want occasionally. And that is normal. Now, if you are the caregiver or someone with diabetes, that same thing can happen. It doesn't mean you did a bad job. It doesn't mean you made poor decisions. Just be confident in what you know, do your best, and then be at peace with the decisions you make and make adjustments as needed. Now, maybe when you find that blood sugar levels aren't doing exactly what you want them to do, maybe there needs to be some adjustments made. That happens over time. Talk to your healthcare professional or your educator to help you make some adjustments. Or maybe there wasn't an explanation for it. I see that all the time. There's no explanation for what happened. You still do your best and then adjust as needed and then move on. So give yourself some grace when that happens. Diabetes can make a big impact on everyday life. I understand how the responsibility it is to know that you've got everything you need when you walk out the door. If you go on vacation, you've got to overpack and make sure you have extra things because you may not have access to things while you're gone. Or maybe you're going to plan a camping trip and you're going to be far away from help. So you have that worry of, do I have everything together? Maybe you want to play a sporting event or be active or go on a hike. You've got to figure out how to manage your blood sugars every time you do something like that. Another example is the birthday party for your child that has type 1. You send them to the birthday party. They might eat cupcakes. They might have their insulin stacking by the time they get home. But live your life and enjoy it. Figure out how to make those adjustments and don't avoid the things that you love to do. Go and do them. Maybe when you travel, your blood sugars aren't going to be as good as they were when you were home, but do your very best. Keep them as good as you can and know that that can happen. Maybe your child will come home from the birthday party with a little higher blood sugars. Adjust and get them better. It doesn't mean you're careless with your management. It just means you do your very best, but enjoy living and enjoy your life, because you may find that things go really well, even when you thought maybe they wouldn't. So give yourself that ability to go and do and have fun. And that is the perfect time to ask those around you for some help. Or maybe the parent of your child's friend, you can help them understand a little bit more about what it takes to manage and what things to look for and how to help your child. But ask those around you what questions they have. Normally, people don't know how to ask the person who has diabetes, and so they just kind of assume that they have it under control, and they don't ask, but they want to know. People want to know, they want to help, they want to support. And so it's a really great thing to have teamwork. It does take a team, and make sure those you're going to be around or with most of the time understand how to help you when you're low. Explain to them what it takes to manage your diabetes. Ask them what questions they have and help them feel comfortable with what you're doing so that they understand. Most people just don't understand, so they don't know how to support, but they want to. They want to be on your team. Another important part of your team is your healthcare professionals. Make sure your primary care physician, your diabetes educator, your dietitian, maybe you go to some other type of healthcare professional. Make sure they're all aware and they're all on the same page with what you're trying to do so that they can all help and support and get you where you want to be and help you reach your goals. It's really important that the more people that know and understand, the better. And so just remember, it definitely takes a team. Now, if you are feeling so overwhelmed that you can't quite get out of that distress or burnout cycle, please reach out to a mental health care professional. There are many out there who can help you, and they will give you the help you need to get you out of that. And so make sure that you don't let it go. Just reach out and get the help that you need. Some of the ways to try to help yourself is to look beyond yourself. I find that anytime I am out helping and serving someone else, I forget a little bit about my problems. And then I also find that there are people out there who are struggling with things that seem much harder than what I'm struggling with. Or maybe I find someone who's kind of going through the same thing I am, and it helps me to serve and help them. So look beyond yourself. Try to find ways that you can go out and help other people who are dealing with diabetes on some level or another. Maybe you're going to run into someone who's newly diagnosed and you can give them some ideas of what helps you and just let them know you're there to support them and encourage them and let them see that it's okay. Volunteer for organizations such as the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation or the American Diabetes Association or any other local groups. Often there will be organizations that will put together camps, whether it's overnight or day camps for youth who have diabetes. That is an amazing place to get involved. It will really help you see a big picture of the diabetes world and different circumstances and how different, especially kids, are learning to adjust to this, and you can be a big help to them. And in turn, it's going to help you. And then remember, you're not alone. There are over 500 million people worldwide that are living with diabetes. Anyone who's listened to this podcast is here to support you. They listened to it because they wanted to learn more about it, and they are feeling the same way you are. They're feeling that anxiety and that pressure of dealing with something that's 24/7. So just know that you're not alone and reach out to other people and get help from them. And then make sure that you celebrate every success along the way. Anything that you do that's a positive in your life, be proud of it and be happy about it so that you can develop that healthy relationship with your diabetes.